days, the weeping days. Across the galaxy, winter came like a tax collector. I sat in space, lonely as a fly in a whiskey bottle, and imponderable snow drifted through my mind. Like, why is there only one monopolist commission? Why do they use sterilized needles for lethal injections? Can vegetarians eat animal crackers? Is muffin the mule a sexual offense? As Descartes said, I'm pink, therefore I'm spam, but that don't cut no mustard for me. And none of it explains why an anagram for genital herpes is general pea shite. Or gather el penis. I feel like I'm back in a diagonally parked in a parallel universe. A cosmic orphan, stranger to everything and everyone, including myself. The last time I met myself, I didn't even recognize me and walked right on by. I even thought of having a brain transplant, but I changed my mind. My name is Dick Stacy. Note to myself, there's a few people here. They look extremely intelligent. This could be the cream of the whole festival. Unless they're here to mug me. I'll take a look at that later. It's May the 39th, 2028. It was the kind of day when God has a hangover. Your wheels are paraplegic and thoughts sewer through your pretty pois like ribbons of dog-chewed bacon, and your bones ache in their cradles. There's destruction everywhere. Bird wings carve obscene gestures in the snot-gray sky. And there's blood in the air. Maybe that's why I didn't see her coming. She reared up at me, sharp as a butcher's knife. A Molly Bloom of a mouth, eyes like Death Watch beetles, her ass like a pair of boxing gloves. I was putty in her palms, doing her pouting Marilyn Monroe, a piece of skag in her maw. I could have laid down and worshipped her hammer toes, ripped out my liver and fed it to her pet beagle if she'd had one. But instead, I lit a Pall Mall, Humphrey Bogart, black and white, shadows of nuance, sex, and Jack Daniels. Would you hold her for a minute, sir? Do not touch her inappropriately. Are you him? She asked. Him, what does she mean? Marlon Brando, Jesus, Jack the Hatchet, Chris Eubank, Dennis the Menace, Moses, the Duke of Cambridge? Well, they gotta be one of those. Yeah, I'm him, I said, flicking my eyes at her scamels that thrust out like iron bolts in a warlock's cannon. She flicked them back. I caught them, screwed them in tight. Okay, she said. That's it, just one word. But it had screaming oceans, drowning deserts, and dynamite mountains in it. That okay was the second and third coming, the Hiroshima of broken hearts, the Bible of all desires. I was hooked, harloted, and hatched. She was my Beatrice, my Cleo, my Elsie Tanner, my Elizabeth Taylor, my Babylon baby doll, my Helen, the place that launched 1,000 chips. Ah, shit. Was I becoming a prisoner of bad puns? A forager among double and triple entendre, a hostage to sobriquet? And who was Sue anyway, or was that her moniker, or was she really Monica? Was I becoming a deranged man of letters? And if lettuce, then why not carrots and peas and every damn vegetable in God's summer of hell? Or if I was becoming a man of letters, there was only one I needed now. Why? Why? Oh, honey, it's because I chose you, she said. Reading my thoughts like they were stamped in blue fire on my hot, stupid head. We was locked into each other now. Siamese twinned into confounded desires and blowjob destruction. Earth and air, arrow and heart, fire and water. Hitler and Houdini, Sooty and Sweep. I was dying in a world of crazy combinations and idiotic double acts. So I Googled in my mind, get me the hell out of here. But a message came up, this is not a safe site. Get me out. This page has expired. My antivirus software had the Black Plague. I had verrucas in my soul, trench foot in my brain, ingrowing thoughts. I was becoming a psychotic foot fetishist. But then, she told me that a murder, thank you, sir, was about to be committed. She'd overheard 2 Martians talking about it in the maternity ward of the New York Public Library. There ain't much to go on, but like all accomplished dicks, I stop where I am, which is right here. And it turns out, she was right. She likes to stand on her head. It's a kind of Zen thing. That's a human heart. To you, a piece of raw offal, a butcher's reject. Yet a half hour ago, this was the pump and engine of a human soul, the aqua vitae of a young buckaroo, horribly hacked down in his prime. He was crimped and carved by a neurotic Bakerloo line tube train, and then diced and decanted by an intergalactic Black & Decker lawnmower before his heart, this bleeding testament to the crime, was cruelly unhooked from its chamber and left hemorrhaging its swan song in the bar with this note attached. 2 pints of semi-skimmed and a strawberry yogurt next week, please. Now I call that fucking weird, not to say heartless. And what parvenu gabulunzi could do such a thing? It's my job to find out. Alas, poor Yarick, I never knew the schmuck, but this young man could have gone on to become a veterinary surgeon who performs a life-saving operation on a suicidal walrus called Archie, living in a Puerto Rican slum after being abandoned by his lovely but intemperate wife Cindy, she who flipped off with a rakish, unreliable penguin gambler called Harry the Ace. It's possible. Archie could have opened an orphanage or become a game show host or a Shell Oil executive with a passion for Havana cigars and crayfish dinners flown in fresh from Boston. This young man could have been anything. A carpet salesman, a bum, a terrorist, a maker of plastic dentures, an inventor of luminous face creams, a suppository handler. Shit, all those possibilities. Gone. Breaks your damn heart. But then you know what the Quasimodo of all surprises was? What this heart was found in? That's right. This was no ordinary murder. This was the work of an insane serial killer. And some of you in this room are suspects. You, is your name Hildegard the kitchen maid? No. Could you tell me what you will be doing on the evening of October the 32nd in the year 2028 between the hours of 10 and 12? No, okay. So if I tell you that I have three witnesses that can identify you lap dancing in a Baptist chapel in Newport Pagnell before falling into the arms of a female Venusian wrestler with jug ears and a small distinguishing Gothic cathedral on her inside left thigh, would you want to change your story?
That sounds pretty fun.
Okay. You do remain a suspect though, and I'm going to have to ask you to write down your name and address, your telephone number, your insurance number, and everything you remember about the first 15 years of your life on this piece of paper, please, sir.
Do you want my credit card number too?
Okay, if you can get it on the back. We're on a tight schedule here, so do it in code. That's great. I got everything I need. Yeah. you're here, sir, I'm going to have to take a photographic record of you from my crime records. I can do a drawing of you. Is that okay? I'm a trained artist.
Sure.
I spent 35 years in the Royal Academy. I can do a perfect image of someone in less than 1 minute. If you just hold still, sir. Yeah, that's good. That's a perfect likeness, sir. Okay. You don't mind if I keep this for my records? I can get you a copy afterwards. Okay. We got a long way to go. Where's my pencil? And you, sir, I'm aware you do not wish me to approach you, which leads me to suspect that you may be intoxicated or have illegal substances secreted about your person. Well, you know me when I'm talking to you, sir. That's better. Now, as you know, sir, in the Bible, Genesis chapter 10, verse 26, Joktan begat Almadad and Seraph and 2 other sons. Okay, 2 other sons. Were they Harazamarapheth and Jerah, or Ted and Wayne? That is incorrect, sir. But then he started talking in a weird German accent. Mein Grindel they fucking up the Achtungstunken, mein Kaufen, and the Heinzen, Means and Biesen, and Sticken the fucking up the Angel Pickens. Jesus. I suddenly had a hunch, so I had it surgically removed and replaced with intuition. Could this really be the Fuhrer? Wait. No. Little fella's got a full pair. And as we know, he only had one. It's another dead end. But in my job, flexible thinking and random association are important. And I'm going to give all of you an important job to do tonight. A card with something written on it. This may become crucial in identifying the killer. If anyone tries to take this from you, shoot first and ask questions later. I'm hardwiring your index fingers to shoot .38 slugs at will. Now, if you all shoot at once, Willie's going to be one dead son of a bitch. So, use your discretion. It's number 4, number 2, thank you. Number 1, thank you. Number 3, thank you. Now, I've read somewhere that fish is good for the brain, and I needed to think. So what? Oh, shit! But my thoughts were, oh, God, mutilated mackerel, mullet mortalities, cod casualties, annihilated anchovies, demised dolphins, lobotomized lobsters, putrefying pike. I was dying in a world of fish fatalities. And sensing my acute aquatic anxiety, she laughed. It was a deep laugh that started in September and threw up in Dagenham like a putrid Chinese takeaway. Are you just going to stand there, or are you going to use that thunderbolt in your pocket? She said. Oh, God, what could I do? I turned on my heels and I fell over. That was a stupid move. I wouldn't make the same mistake twice. I picked myself up. Somebody had to. And then I walked away with all the dignity of an ass-plucked chicken. Tomorrow will be another day, and the day after that would be another one. That's how it is round here. But, wait! What the galloping suspenders is this? What the hell have we got here? Jesus Christ. There's a wig. There's a set of teeth. There's a sock. there's a glove, there's a pear, there's a, what's this? It's an ant in a matchbox. Jesus, it's an onion, it's a moose, and an extraterrestrial mask. From these clues, I rapidly constructed a profile of the killer. He's a bald, toothless, one-legged, one-armed, fruit-sucking, insect-loving Frenchman with a fetishistic death wish who posed as an extraterrestrial while committing his obscene crimes against the universe. So we got a long way to go here. And I decided to send out a thought request to the whole galaxy. Oh, yeah. And I got a reply. It seems there'd been a sighting of the killer on an old dead star called Catherine Hepburn. I climbed in to my imaginary classic Cadillac. A 1942 Fisher Fleetwood V8 with a 126-inch wheelbase and crimson fin. She was a beaut, coquettish, leather-trimmed and sassy, with a penchant for fast men and clean upholstery. Ha! I keyed in the imaginary sat-nav and waited for the voice to tell me what to do. Now, put your foot down and head straight for that meteorite as fast as you can. Go on. You know you want to. The collision, the exaltation, the splintering bone, the rupturing muscle, the ba-ba-boom. Jesus Christ, it's a death wish voice. I got out of there. I was still in limbo, which is a bad place to be, although the plumbing is better than in Dumfries. I needed to use my initiative, but where the hell was it? Could I borrow your initiative, sir? That's too big. Can I borrow your initiative, please, sir? Thanks. Okay. That's a perfect fit. I will defend this to the last drop of someone else's blood. And we got a long way to go. Through the Milky Way, through the galaxies, with planets like bubbles. When I walked to the bus stop, the bus was late, and the driver rang the gearbox, but I blamed fate. Then the 7:30 train that arrived today didn't wait, so I hitched a ride somehow on a passing cab. We were set up till 9, but I heard the trains on the line, and well, a few little moved where the dish flew away with the speed. The space getting deeper, couldn't pass the beeper. 2 for 1 and other stuff, I test always cheaper. In ground control to Major Tim, reruns the countdown, get the beers. But I'm a ball man waiting for a pie. I'd like some chips and faggots, but the price would go sky high. Set the controls for the heart of the sun. But throw out your thumbs, get your soul love on. The city great guitar jamming good with Stepto and Big Billy. You thought he was walking on the moon, but it was only Big Billy. You've done this before. You're Bubble Kings. That's good. Okay, it's November the 38th, 2041, and I arrived. It was cold, clammy, soulless. Edgar Allan Poe hostility in the air. Was I in the right place, or had I taken a wrong turn and ended up in Bradford? I was full of foreboding, so I threw up. and felt better. A hunch told me I was in the right place, so I thanked it and moved on. And now moving into the present tense to create dramatic variety. There he is! A bald, toothless, one-legged, one-armed, fruit-sucking, insect-loving Frenchman with a fetishistic death which poses an extraterrestrial while committing his obscene crimes against the universe, only now cunningly disguised as an alien cabbage. He wasn't fooling me for a second. It's a French beret. It's an alien cabbage. I brought the dirty schmuck in for questioning. Now, I decided on the classic good cop, bad cop approach. It has an impressive record in breaking down recalcitrant vegetables. I hope you're comfortable. Nice deep breaths. Peaceful teddy bear, fluffy, flirtatious pillow thoughts. We're going to facilitate a deep connection with your inner child. It's my ass! You ain't as guilty as a bucket of razor blades, you dick-faced cheese fucker. Don't listen to him. I know you're a sensitive little frog with Charles Aznavour eyes and a heart of sweetie pie marshmallow. Yeah! Either you confess, shit sticker, or I ram this mother right up your beef quentin. God, this was confusing, especially for me. I began to see red, yellow, green, indigo. I was hallucinating a rainbow. What this perverted punk done to me? You little murdering fuck, what you doing? Some man fool on me! Oh shit. I'd murdered my own suspect. Worse, he was innocent. He really was a damn cabbage, and I'd laid waste the poor schmuckaroo. But maybe it was for the best. Even if he lived, he would have been a vegetable all his life. Maybe you could see to it he gets a decent funeral. Maybe cremate him with a drizzle of vinegar and cheese. It's what the little fella would have wanted. This situation wasn't working. So I must be unemployed or on vacation. I needed to do something radical, so I joined the anarchist group. And we started a revolution on a small planet called Henry, where we drank Molotov cocktails, and smoked cigarillos with tobacco rolled from the toe jam of renegade reptiles. But it didn't bring me any closer to the killer. I was back where I started, in my mother's womb. It was dark, and I floated around in a heavy sea of mush with nothing to read, listening to a hammering outside. It was my father nailing a new idea into his head. I never met him, but my mother says I have his nose and his feet. If ever I meet him, I'll have to give him back, because he must keep falling over and be unable to smell a damn thing. These digressions aren't helping. So, I throw them away. A stray dog picks them up and wet nurses them for 6 weeks until they grow into juvenile deviations. I heard later that one of them qualified for the bar, but he was too short to order a drink. And the other 5 scattered into different parts of speech and later reunited to commit a crime and so finally qualified for a long sentence. Some families can never escape grandma or grandpa. It's tough out there to be abandoned to the quixotic slings and arrows of language without a thesaurus to guide you. I mean, I have an explosive relationship with language. The first time I said the word bomb, my hand blew off. I knew I was dyslexic when I went to a toga party dressed as a goat. When I was a kid, my mom took me to a shop and it said, "Family Butcher." I went, "Oh, Mom, they're going to chop us in." She took me outside. There was a truck going by, said, "Family Removal." So, Mom, where are they going to take us? The greengrocer was white. My uncle was a blacksmith, but he was a kind of pinky colour. His Moby Dick, a venereal disease. And so I didn't trust words or nothing. And that's when I knew that I was destined to be a prize dick for all eternity. And now, my rapidly unhinging alter ego wants to say something else.
There are three kinds of people in this universe. Those who can count and those who can't. Then there are people like me, which makes four. The universe is a junkyard of crime, alien perversity, and existential terror. Aliens come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. There are fat ones called extraterrestrials. I once saw an alien with 3 balls. I called him E.T., the extra testicle. Every new planet, a maelstrom of beautiful depravity, every star, a beacon of terror and wonderful misfortune. You can't work in it without becoming a wreck. I used to drink heavily on the moon, but it had no atmosphere. I'm still addicted to brake fluid, but I can stop it any time I want. Even my neuroses are neurotic. I went to see a shrink, but I came out the same size. As the Archangel Gabriel says, shit happens. My father, whoever he was, always said I'd amount to nothing. And I'm on the way to fulfilling his dreams. In the meantime, I try to solve the riddles of existence and the existence of riddles. Because I'm a dick. Dick Spacey.
December the 49th, 2051. I've been pushing myself so hard on this case that I fell over. My mind suddenly became vacant. So I moved in. It was damp, rat-infested, sparsely furnished, buckled with broken stars. There was an old French walnut dresser in a back bedroom, full of spiders and cockroaches and peanut shells and decaying rubber gloves and the glass eye of a Romanian gypsy dwarf and a Siberian tiger tooth and the forgotten smiles of long-gone clowns and love letters from a whore in Tel Aviv telling me she was big with a child that could be mine. Or could be from a retired civil servant in the Department of Shattered Dreams, or from a one-legged racing driver who drank raw mescaline through a pair of decrepit transvestite tights. Oh shit, I moved out again. The last thing I needed was my mind. I got it a job in a hotel in Glasgow, but it got fired for abusing the hairdryers. I was feeling so tired, I wasn't myself. Which must mean I'm someone else. I looked in the mirror. Oh shit, I had a weird hat on. I was little and stubby with white women's tights and one hand in my vest. I was Napoleon. I blinked and looked again. I was soft and brown, either a giant turd or a column of demerara sugar. I blinked and looked again. Huh? I looked like a mad ventriloquist dummy, my skin tight as a plastic dildo. I was Joan Collins, or Pinocchio. I needed to occupy myself like an army, so I went to my office and I put the kettle on, but it didn't suit me. I put my feet up on the desk, then my hands, then my liver, then my spleen, then my pancreas. It was a very messy desk. But then the door opened and my life changed forever. She was my kind of woman. One leg reaching all the way down to the floor. 3 mouths One for talking, one for depravity, and one for whispering in my ear. 3 eyes with lashes so long she rented them out for air conditioning. Skin the color of burnt cardboard and Weetabix. She was Matahari, Julie Andrews, cocaine, and Elvis. On a rainy Memphis night when the bourbon is gone and the moon explodes with forbidden love. Take the weight off your foot, I said, downing my 5th tequila. The lemon, the worm, and a small sub-post office slipped down my throat. God, it hurt. She crossed her leg, revealing a thigh so dazzling it blinded angels. I had to put on my Ray-Bans. They say that you are the best, she said, with mouth number 1, while mouth number 2 recited a list of retired bankers from the Wall Street crash of '29. Yeah, they say a lot of things. They say the whales used to swim in the oceans of Uranus. They say that God is a scorched eggplant on some giant existential mark. Okay, I get the picture, she said. I didn't know I painted you one, but happy birthday anyway. She looked around. Then she looked a square. Then she added a few triangles to show she wasn't just square. Somebody wants to murder me, she said. Murder you? But when? It's already happened. You mean you're a hologram? I don't know. What do you think? She said, fluttering her eyelashes like the wings of Lucifer. I could smell her breath. It was like God whispering obscenities into the Milky Way. It was like finding a diamond-studded dream in a Little's shopping bag. Dead hologram or not, you're a hollow of a woman, I said, hoping the bad pun would buy me time to think or even buy me a small timeshare in Tenerife, where I could recover my wits and escape the sheer carnality of the moment. This case was getting to me. There's so many things I don't understand. Well, like quantum theory and Finnegan's Wake and the Sermon on the Mount and the lyrics to A Whiter Shade of Pale. I need to relax. So I took her back to my office and I put a CD on of the Queen's speeches. I was asleep within seconds. When I woke up, she was gone. It was winter. I was in Moscow. My toes were sore and blue with frostbite. Small reindeer frothed in my ashtray. Snowdrops wept at the sheer pain of everything in this icy void. There was hunger and violence in the air. Muscovite voices filled my ears, and I looked up as German troops tried to eat boot leather in the frozen fields. Hitler smirked in his bunker. Napoleon blew his... That's fucking Napoleon again! Would I never be free of this little balding maniac? Or was he somehow connected with the murder of the woman of my dreams? This caper was getting to me. I could smell something funny. It was me. I took a shower, then I brought it back. Hell, I felt as if I was dying on my feet, which is as good a place as any. I needed air. Everyone needs air. But no wonder I couldn't breathe with every son of a bitch taken out of the air. I got out of there and went here, but it was just somewhere else. Every damn place was somewhere else, except where I wanted, which was nowhere. She was back, like a rash, like a recurrent wet dream, like a laundry. I like someone who was back. She looked better than before and before. I was intoxicated with her and maybe with the 3 bottles of rum I just named. Who do you suspect murdered you? Was it a bald, toothless, one-legged, one-armed, fruit-sucking, insect-loving Frenchman with a fascist death wishes, boasting extraterrestrial, while committing obscene crimes against the universe? Well, I don't know. It was dark. I couldn't see properly. Come on, lady, give me a lead. She gave me a lead with a little dog attached, so I took it for a walk. Then I came back. Any ideas? Well, you could start with God. Oh, God. I thought he'd been collecting dust and missing persons for millennia, but it seems he's made a comeback, like Scientology, like Sugar Puffs, like Engelbert Humperdinck. I had to look for God, so I started in the toilet, in the freezer, in the upturned light shade that collects dead bugs, even though there's no way in or out. I looked in my ashtray. I looked down my pants. I looked on the planet where Prince Charles lived when he was a pot plant. I looked into the galaxy of dead composers, all trying to recreate the sounding of the spheres. Where the hell was God hiding? For an omnipotent being, he was being pretty damn delusive. I needed a break. So, I took a hammer and I hit my arm as hard as I could. Ah, shit! It broke. Oh, it's a stupid idea. I looked back in time, decided not to break my arm. I might need it if ever I find this damn killer. But how? How? I decided to employ my usual successful strategy for eliminating suspects, pursuing the alphabet. Okay, so we got what? A for Aristotle. No, it can't be him. Because in the Poetics he says that catharsis is necessary to tragedy. Or maybe it's catheters. But either which way, there's nothing either emotionally satisfying or liquid about these murders, so it can't be him. B for fucking Napoleon, it can't be him. He's too busy picking ringworm out of his scabbard after a night with Josephine to commit murder, and besides, he only likes to murder people in their thousands. C for Columbus. Christopher Columbus! I've always been suspicious of a guy who claims to have discovered a country that's been inhabited by a whole bunch of other people for 50,000 years before he arrives. It's like me getting wet and saying I discovered water. Hey Chris, you want to go to Specsavers and take a gander at these dudes you was about to fuck over forever? And he wears women's tights. Cross-dressing fantasists like that, bound to be my man. But where to find him? He's Spanish. I figured he might be in Spain. I'd go there. I approach a pansy-looking pipe cleaner with gold earrings and a purple velvet codpiece, and he walks like he got a set of encyclopedias up his ass. He's a very little guy with a big head. Hey faggot! Donde es Christopher Columbus? I am Christopher Columbus, he lisps. I got him! I handcuff him to a giant paella and bring him in for questioning. The interrogation lasted 3 years. I bombard him with questions like how many budgerigars does it take to lift the Empire State Building? And when Arthur Schopenhauer says a man can do what he wants but not want what he wants, what the fuck does he mean? Chris was keeping stum, but where was he keeping stum? Under his hat, in his scrotum, in his 1954 Beano annual? I knew I'd break him. I'd give him a steely look, then an irony look, then an aluminium look, then a woolen look. It confused them. Hell, it confused me. Everyone was confused. I tried to harness the situation, but it bucked and reared so hard I was tossed off and landed in a dilemma where an albino pygmy was feeding sugar cubes to Marilyn Monroe and a duplicitous guinea pig called Fernando Cortez. Seems I'd thrown up in the land of strange dreams, LSD for short. They made me mop the floor where I'd thrown up. By the time I finished, it was clean as a whistle, so I picked it up and I played Unchained Melody, which was romantic, but irrelevant. And all this chaos, Columbus had gotten clean away. Or maybe dirty away, but either which way, he was gone. And all he left was a word in his hat. Papilionaceous. Now there's a word, but what the hell does it mean? What does anything mean? Papilionaceous. It's somewhere between pants and paradigm in the dictionary. But what happens when you look up a word in the dictionary? It just sends you to a whole bunch of other words to look up. It's never ending. Dictionaries are Bibles of seductive promises that cock tease your brain into exhaustion. Dictionaries flumdoodle you into rhetorical insanity. I once got marooned in the OED between ecstasy and excrement. I had to wade through epicenter, an epidural, an erection, escalator before I finally reached escape and got the hell out of there with my brain full of ease. A friend of mine got trapped in suspenders and he died before he could reach swastika. Syphilis was just a blur on the horizon now. Dictionaries are museums of double talk, lexical ghost towns, the Bibles of hell. Okay, papilionaceous. Pap means breast, ill means sick. Shios is maybe short for Shostakovich. So the clue to finding this killer is then to be found in the booby gazumper of a sick musician. It's plausible, but stupid. Hell, I looked it up. Papilionaceous. Corolla like a butterfly. Humbuck's shark's another word to look up. Corolla. It means a wreath. Okay. A wreath. So this killer kills people and mourns them at the same time. He's a control freak, a narcissist. Everything's about reflecting back at him. So the killer can be found by looking in a mirror.
It was me. I was the killer. I changed the angle, but there was no doubt. I was the one. The line a nightingale sang in Barking Square came to mind, but it had nothing to do with my present crisis. This was a real Freddy Krueger. I considered suicide, but I hate DIY. Only one option. I have to hold myself down, make an arrest, and bring me in for questioning. What a big problem. I don't know where I am. I make a few discreet inquiries to drinking dens, racetracks, bordellos, shuttlecock clubs, knitting circles, origami away day clubs, the Louisian anarchists and curry society, but not a trace. But then I got lucky on the phone.
Hi, Lucky. What you got? Yeah! That's great, man! I'm falling apart here. Give your wife my love and tell her she can keep the whip and the leg irons, but I want the butter knife and the jodhpurs back. Lucky had spotted me talking to him on the phone. If I was quick, I might still be there. I was. Taking no chances, I fell on me like a ton of hard-boiled eggs. Ah, you buggy, you're coming in with me now. You got, come on, you got to get in there. Fucking, shit. Will you stop doing that to my ear? Thank you. It was a desperate struggle, but I finally got the upper hand. And I brought myself into custody. I didn't trust my prisoner. He looked dirty, mean, shifty, but also sexually charismatic, rakishly attractive and fiercely intelligent. I couldn't help feeling that we'd met before. It was like deja vu all over again. But I began the interrogation immediately. Okay, punk, what's your name? Napoleon. But if I get killed by a cannon, you can call me blown apart. Ha! You wise guy. Do you realize the trouble you're in? I thought I was in a chair. Where were you the night before last? I spent the evening in a dilemma. Me too! But I don't remember seeing you there. Did you know ain't any of the murder victims only a stiffs? Do you prefer Fairy Liquid or Tesco own brand? I'm a Waitrose man, so... Wait a minute, you punk. I meant to be asking the questions. Now will you sing? I could have danced all night. I could... You dirty punk, you dirty punk! Ah, Jesus. I was too clever for myself by half and 3/4. I wouldn't break. I had the heart of a lion, the strength of an orangutan, the balls of an albino pelican, the feet of a Pimlico cockroach, the wings of a lesser spotted adobe warble, and, oh God, the aroma of a Death Watch club sandwich. I had to let myself go with a warning. Beware the Ides of March and the Odes of Shakespeare and the showers of April. And as I watch myself walk away into the deep impenetrable mysteries of cold space, the possibility that I am the killer consumes me with guilt in the side order of fries. The fries are okay, but I can't stomach the guilt. I decide to give it to someone else. Will you take my guilt, please? Thanks. I felt better. Surely I ain't the killer. Otherwise, surely I'd feel the tiniest pang of guilt, and the only guilty-looking person around here is. As far as I can see, which is about 30 meters, I have no suspects. Which could mean that I'm losing my mind. If I do, could you start a search party to find it? Or it could mean that the killer is invisible. Can you see anyone who looks suspiciously invisible? There's a lot of them here. I think it's the guy there. So, I decide to hunt him down, and I make myself invisible so the bastard won't see me coming.
I wrestled the punk to the ground, kidney punching, then frisking. What do we have here? An open return ticket around the universe. But that means he could have been at any of the scenes of crimes. He told me his name was Hugh Jordan, and he had a predilection for bad puns. I told him I had a friend like that called Harry Balls, who used to work in an orange juice factory till he got canned because he couldn't concentrate. Hugh Jordan said he worked as a baker, but then left because he didn't make enough dough. Then as a banker, but he lost interest. This was going nowhere. This cook was so dippy, he probably couldn't murder a steak. I decided to keep him in custody pending further inquiries.
I'm going to leave this huge organ in your capable hands, sir. Okay, I know you can handle it. Thank you. Don't let him make a boat for it or a nut, okay? I'm counting on you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? I was desperate, tired, sick of everyone. Arthur Schopenhauer says that most of our sorrows spring from our relations with other people. He was a miserable fuck, but he was right. People are a huge mistake with their verrucas and their herpes and their dirty socks. I prefer walnuts to people. But even they can turn nasty. Killer walnuts! Return of killer walnuts. Son of killer walnuts. Return of the son of killer walnuts. You know you're desperate when you start on sequels. I needed to see the Jekyll and Hyde connections in this case. And I used to be a passionate devotee of the creative synthesizing of unlikely fruits. Maybe that synergizing ability can help me now. You know the kind of thing I mean. You cross a strawberry with an earlobe, you get a strobe. You cross a banana with Eric Clapton, you get an appealing guitar player. You throw it with a bunch of them, you get a band of fruits. But it goes way beyond fruit. You cross a pig and a milliner, you get a pork pie hat. You cross a hot curry with a toilet, you get a vindaloo. You cross a pig and a chicken, you get a bacon sandwich that lays its own egg for breakfast. But none of this explains why the Monday Club meets on a Tuesday. I'm still cruising down dead-end alley with nothing but a bunch of speculation, so I stop the car and I tell him to get out. And as their beatbox chattering recedes into Starbucks, I suddenly remember on the back of this box a message, aliens in better. It ain't the chip shop killer. Aliens sin better. It ain't a religious murder. It's an anagram for Albert Einstein. He's the original space and time killer. Cocky little bastard even told me his name and thought I wouldn't get it. Moving at an incredible speed, he could be anywhere now. Mercury, Mars, Neptune, Venus, cockfosters. He said there are only two things that are infinite, the universe and human stupidity. He wasn't sure about the universe, but the one thing that you can be sure of, apart from E equals MC squared, is I'll find him wherever he is, because I'm a dick. Dick Spacey. Thank you.